How you doing? My name is Shegun, and I'm live with.
Olumoyowa. Yeah, so basically, we're here for everything sports, but majorly soccer or football, as we call it. And we'll be bringing you updates on Premier League games, um, a bit of Spanish league, but mostly Premier League games, predictions, what to look forward to. We're talking about transfers when the time comes. Of course, we're still in the transfer period, but basically, that's what we'll be discussing. Yeah.
Okay. Now, first of all, we're talking about the yesterday game between Spurs and PSG. What do you think about the game? PSG later won the game on penalties, but Spurs were in the game from 2 goals to 0 before PSG equalized, and they scored a goal in the time before the game went on to penalties. What do you see? How do you see the game like?
All right.
So how do you see yesterday's game like? Yesterday was the second time that Spurs has played PSG. The first time was in 2017 when Spurs beat PSG 4 goals to 2. Yesterday's game, how did you see the games yesterday?
Oh well, a bit surprised that Spurs could hold off PSG for a long period of time. Not in a surprising way that run through, to the very last minute to penalties. I was expecting PSG to blow them away, to be honest, but fair game to them. But in the end, it still was a PSG game. So nothing surprising. The only surprising thing, like I said, is that the game would go 2-2 and then down to penalties. But then it's a Super Cup. I shouldn't have expected less. Yeah.
So you see yesterday's game, when I saw that PSG Spurs were, I couldn't follow the game all through. I just watched some part of the game. I saw that Spurs had the first goal, the second goal, they plus scored the third. PSG were having issues dealing with set pieces, from crosses to corners, and then a lot of chances that Spurs had yesterday came through those beats. And then we saw PSG come back from 2 goals down. They did that against Man City. They had an amazing. Of course, they've had like some trying times when the transfer windows. They lost the player um Bournemouth, although Donnarumma, the transfer saga between him having issues playing with the football players' foot, him and the coach saying that they don't want him anymore, and none of that, that happened all through prior to yesterday's game. And yesterday's game came about, they having their issues, forced into getting a new manager, bringing all the players, wanted to buy Savinho, but they brought in Marcel Stel, brought in Danzo, a couple of players are coming here and there, and they show forth what they could do. Of course, we're not supposed to do much in that regard, but we saw how it panned out for yesterday. Good win for PSG, the first French team to win the 4 trophies, the 3 trophies in France, the Champions League, and then of course the Super Cup. Let's see what it goes out for them. Um, Talking about Spurs, we're going to go to a bit transfer window. You've seen them go into transfer window for talks with Man City over Savinho. What are your thoughts? Man City don't want to send him, but if at all, Man City have a policy that if any player wants to go, they don't hold them back. Only in very few cases that we've seen them hold players back. What's your thoughts about them going for Savinho? Looking at the temerity of how the player just came in last season, he had his issues. Though he had a good dribble, he give assists, but he was not really scoring much. What do you think about Savinho's game? Yes, Savinho for going in for Savinho.
Okay. It's like I want to have a thought. Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's a good one. I think if Sevilla does leave, the rumor is that Man City are going in for Rodrigo, and that will be massive for both Man City and the Premier League. Rodrigo, one of the huge fan of Rodrigo, his style of play, how he scores from different angles. I think it's been underused by Real Madrid. So all in all, it will still work in Man City's favor because if Savinho goes with the asking price they're asking for, I think that's what is holding up the deal. Once they can get that through the door, Rodrigo will definitely be a good buy. Of course, and even if it isn't Rodrigo, Man City will definitely reinforce. So nothing to worry about in Pep Guardiola's team. Yeah.
Even though I felt like they shall. So I see like the Savinho deal, and it was bought for close to 30 million or so from Girona. Or there are arguments whether Girona like a sister club to Man City and all of that. So I felt that he should have stayed in Man City for probably maybe 1 or 2 seasons because Doku had stayed Man City for I think 2 seasons already, yeah, and then he too is not as productive as he should be. Although Savino had a couple of assists here, arguably at some point in time he had the top number of assists, I think top 5 for Man City. He should have been given some more time, but they're selling him is not necessarily a bad thing. Might be an opportunity for them to get a quote unquote a better player. Of course, Rodrigo is a better player, probably top 10 wingers in the world as of now, and he's more productive. Yeah, there. But again with the coming of Mbappe and him not be able to play on the natural left wing I want to play, it'll be a good opportunity for him to go to, and that's him. My Madrid are rumored to want to send him for 100 million euros, which around like 89 million pounds. It will be a good thing for them as regards that, of course, talking about PSG, we saw doing rumors of Donnarumma having not an rumor that he has alleged that he has agreed personal terms with City. It just means for the contract to be signed, and the transfer fee, and of course, and there are rumors that he had.
About City, yeah, of course, when it comes to the transfer market, there's always that domino effect. City is rumored to not be able to do Donnarumma deal except Ederson leaves. So a lot depends on whether Ederson leaves, as a lot depends on if Savio does leaves Man City. But that's by the way. Enough of that. We still have other things to talk about now. Uh, Before we talk about the Premier League games for the weekend, I would like us to take our predictions. What is your take? Which teams do you think will make the top four? Which team are you tipping for the Premier League title?
This is a tough one. I really can't give any team. I can't really say particularly this is a team that will win the Premier League.
Well, regardless,
But the top four in no particular order. In no top four, I mean in no particular order. Uh, in no particular order. Of course, there will be City there. City will be there. Um, um, Liverpool will be there. Arsenal will be there. I think Chelsea will make top four. That's my thought. I think Chelsea will make top four.
Looking at top five now.
Top five. Uh, the fifth team. Maybe Man U will have a sneak peek in top five. Maybe they will have a sneak peek. They don't want to transfers there and there, but they still have their apparel. Sorry, the basket and the football. Maybe Man U be Man U, but the top four will be of course in no particular order. Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea will be there. I believe Chelsea will be there, and maybe Man U will be around the top.
Tipping to win the league.
This is a tough one. It is a tough one. I think maybe the bookies are saying that Liverpool will be most likely be the one to defend the title. A lot of people are saying that maybe with 1 or 2 transfers that still will do may affect whether they would win the league or not. Of course, you cannot underrate Man City. They've done well in the window. Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe people assume that they need a new right back and probably maybe a keeper or something like that. But they cannot buy a new keeper unless Ederson leaves because that's the agreement for Donnarumma. Donnarumma to say that for him to come to Man City, he has to be number one. Of course, you're not going to pay that kind of wages for that kind of keeper and put him on the bench. It's not possible. So let's say I pounds that for the team. After the team on the uprising, they signed Gorekas. They've not been able to get a specialist to support Buki and Bukayo Saka on the right. It might be somewhere they have to look at. They have Madueke, but let me not say anything. Let me not say anything.
Well, before I make my predictions, talking about Arsenal, it seems to look like Arsenal is Chelsea's dumping ground now. And again, not to take anything away from Madueke, he's a good enough player, footballer. He can dribble, although his finishings, is questionable. And then assisting his teammates and all. Well, we'll see how that goes. But like I said, Arsenal and Chelsea transfer has always been fun. Even though they are London rivals, they've done deals a lot, and it's mostly from Chelsea to Arsenal. Anyways, I hope that will bode well for Arsenal. Now my topic. Well, all teams have done relatively well in the transfer market. When I mean all teams, I mean the top four. The likes of Chelsea, top five, I guess. Liverpool, Man City. Liverpool has Reeds, Frimpong to replace Trent. And then, of course, Eketike. that was a wonderful goal by him, by the way, during the Community Shield, which they lost to Crystal Palace. It's indeed a tough one, but I'll still tip Liverpool for the league. My man is saying otherwise. So I'll go with Chelsea too. Who do I pick? Chelsea, Liverpool. Anyways, Arsenal are also in the frame, but I don't say Arsenal winning that league. I have my reservation about Gyökeres, anyways. Uh, when the rumors were going, I'm a Man U supporter. I'm Man U. Yeah, when the rumors were going around about Gyökeres and all that, I wasn't a fan. I would have preferred an Osimhen to a Gyökeres. Anyways, we have Shesko now. We'll deal with that. But owing to the fact that most strikers are moved from Sporting Lisbon, Benfica, from Portuguese league to the Premier League have not really been doing fantastic. Yeah, you can look at the likes of Darwin Nunes, a couple of them too. I think it was only Falcao that left, went to Spain, and was still able to perform at the top. But every other strikers, So, but we'll see how that goes because Gyökeres had played in the English, not in the top 10 anyway. But yeah, in the championship. So maybe he knows what it takes. We'll see how that goes. But I think I'll tip Liverpool, and for the top four, my team has to be there. Yeah, I, I know a lot have been said. We've not seen what they are capable of doing. And that same thing goes for Liverpool. Yeah, we know Liverpool has a particular team and how they function. But we know Diaz has left, of course. The sad story about Jota, and then Rich coming in is a new dynamic entirely. Ekitike. We'll see how Slot is able to transition from the old to the new. The same goes for Man City. A lot of transitioning is going on in Man City. New players are in. I heard the rumor Diaz may be out. The likes of Kuzanov and the likes. We'll see how that works for them. And of course, Rodri is back in the injury table. Uh, Hopefully he comes fit, but I don't think I'm tipping them for the league. I'll go for Liverpool. Maybe Chelsea will be a runner-up, and probably Chelsea Arsenal should be runners up. Man City, my club has to be there, top five. Man United. I do hope we hit the ground running. Yeah.
So like you see, I watched the Community Shield and I saw like Liverpool were amazing, quick, fast counter, quick, fast on the ball, Ekitike, Salah, some of Wales. But the issue there is that they don't balance. Although they had like two of their players that were not they didn't play in the Community Shield, they looked like they were off when it comes to defense. They could pass through them. We saw like Van Dijk is getting older. There are rumors of them wanting to sign Guehi, although they're saying that Guehi is not the most physical when it comes to strength or area battles and area duels and all of that. Probably made have to buy him because the balance here and there, when I getting older, and all of that, and then of course Frimpong is terrible defensively. Of course, if you have Allison there defensively, yeah, it's one of the reasons why some teams didn't want to go for him, But then my thoughts, my opinion, it's not so when it comes to defensive. Although they signed Kirkers there, we saw what he could do in the game. Of course, these are like the balances, the balance. I mean that they're going to want to have when it comes to for Liverpool. For Arsenal, they signed Gurkers. My issue with Gurkers is Arsenal seems like a team that want to play on the front foot. It seems like a player that want to play more on the team that want to play on transition base, which is not a bad thing. But I don't know how they're going to balance it up. How it's going to be balanced there. And for Man City, they've signed a lot of players. They signed Rancheki, young fine player. They signed Mahmoud came in January. They signed a couple of players. They signed Chinjan Reinders, arguably one of the best players in the CR last season. We saw what he could do in the Club World Cup here and there. And some players are also leaving, transitioning, and all of that. But I think when they create the balance there, we never know. They only want to find out. Time will play. Time will play. The still got Haaland, of course, like one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best. And of course with rumors of Rodrigo coming in there, that could change the dynamics of the team because I felt like one of the issues they had last season was apart from the injuries and the players having getting older, not being hungry as they should be. One of the issues they also had was that they were not having scoring wingers. The wingers were not scoring as much. So when Haaland didn't score, it was very difficult for them. So we'll go into the games for the weekend. So the first game is Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Liverpool are playing at home at the Anfield, and the Liverpool have lost their opening game of any season in the past, I think, 9 seasons. In the past 5 games, Liverpool have won five straight games against Bournemouth. The past 3 games, Liverpool have considered they scored minimum of 2 goals in those 3 games, and the past 5 games they scored, as I said, once, twice, and I think they've lost once to Bournemouth. I think that was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think it may be. The new players coming to dynamics. Crystal Palace too. They've signed a couple of players, and Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth. They lost Kirkers. They signed Jakite from Lille. They signed this guy from Petrovic from Chelsea. A couple of players have come in there. What do you think about the opening game between Liverpool and Bournemouth?
Well, I'll say straight win for Liverpool. Straight win. It should be because, like you mentioned, Bournemouth has lost. I think just the player, Kekes. Yeah, and the defender that went to Madrid, Osin, has gone to Madrid. It should be a tough game, but Liverpool should take it. That should be.
I think, like I said, Liverpool will take it. Well, I think it's a 1.5. That is more than 1 goal. Are Liverpool going to concede? I think they would concede. I think they would concede. The next game is we're going to also highlighting the top games. The next game is Wolves versus Man City. Man City versus Wolves. So Man City are away to Wolves at Molino. Man City 2-2 have already lost one of their opening games the past, I think, 6 seasons. Man City are the team with the most points against Wolves. I think they won 9 in 10. Last time they lost was, I think, during that COVID period when Traoré disgraced Mendy in that game. The Mendy left back, who was someone Man City at the more points maybe. We've seen Haaland score 4 goals. I think hat-trick of 4 goals against Wolves. We've seen Man City, of course. Ed Nore will be playing against his former team. Of course, Man City to have brought in new coaching staff with Toure, and Pep, the other Pep. You know, some people say it's inferior Pep. I think Man City to win that game. It's going to probably maybe a stable score line, probably maybe a 1.5, maybe 2 goals to nil or 1 goal to
For
nil.
me, I think Man City Wolves towards the end of the season, we could see how they were able to play, and their play was they played quite well on the break, and I think that will give Man City a whole lot of problems. I'll go for a draw, owing to the fact that for some seasons Man City usually have a slow start, especially when they are in transition like this. Pep Guardiola team tends to have a slow start, so I'll say a draw between Man City and Wolves.
Yeah, then the next game we'll be reviewing is Chelsea Palace. You know, Chelsea are playing at home. They're at Stamford Bridge, even though the bridge has fallen down. Chelsea City want to sign everybody. Like everybody that wears clothes want to sign. They had to sign.
But if you look at it, yeah, which a lot of people are missing, Chelsea's team tend to have 2 players in each position. If they get Garnacho, you would be having 2 players on this position. And the striking position, 2 players, So we may look at Chelsea as, oh, they are just buying all the players. Yeah. But then it works for them. And they've justified it so far. But I'll go for a draw too. Crystal Palace, Chelsea. Well, Crystal Palace have been able to at least kickstart their season, by having some really good games under their belt, like the Community Shield. So I expect it to be a tough one, and of course, it's a London derby game, so it should be a draw.
You see, the Chelsea that at some point, I think they interviewed one of the former players in Chelsea. I can't remember. I think it was Santos or so, and they said that at some point they didn't have they didn't have seats, they didn't have lockers. They didn't have lockers, eh? But then the Chelsea team, I think the way they're built for all these like World Cup competitions and all of that. That's why they're able to have a good club World Cup, in my own opinion. I feel like maybe it's the second season Chelsea will be under pressure. Moresca have to show forth his class. I think Chelsea are going to win that game. They're going to concede, but probably maybe goes 2 goals to 1 for Chelsea. And the next game is Villa. Of course, before I go to the games game, Gui is having contract issues. He doesn't want to sign a new deal. Rumors of him going to Liverpool here and there. There are rumors that he has agreed personal terms, whatever. He's an English player. No, not. I mean, like Gui for Sapala. Yeah.
Oh no, he's not creating issues.
He doesn't want to sign a new contract. So the next game is Aston Villa versus Newcastle. Newcastle have not become a major stay in the house. They're having issues with Livermento, but there's an issue. There's a rumor out now that he was going to sign a new deal, so it's not going anywhere. Isak doesn't want to play anymore. He wants to force his move. For funny reason, Newcastle want to scam everybody and collect 150 million. Somebody asked me that. What does Isak play that he want to sell it for 150
Well,
million?
a quick one on Isak, which has been the major thing with players now. Aside from having a gentleman agreement, like in the case of Gyökeres, we've not had any info to tell us that Isak had an agreement with Newcastle to let him go when he's ready. I mean, players should be able to respect their contracts because you can't push if anyways I'm not a manager or a team owner. If I was in the shoe, and I'm sure the Saudis have enough money, if I'm in the shoes of Newcastle, I would retain him at least for one season to show that you have a contract and you should respect it. I mean, even if you want to leave, Newcastle should stake their ground and say, oh, Liverpool has to pay this amount, although I get 150. But if they put 130, maybe they can meet in the middle. Is it that Liverpool meets that amount or it goes nowhere? They should be firm. But I do understand that a lot of things is going on in Newcastle. They don't have a sporting director at the moment and all that. And so transactions for players I know has fallen on Eddie Howe and his brother. So I get that. But players should learn to respect their contract. You can't say, oh, you are not playing. Imagine it's an organization. You have a contract and all that. Oh, you want to move to elsewhere. You must, mama. You know. Anyways, so like I was saying, it shouldn't all be messy when players are leaving their clubs. But again, I understand the desire to want to leave, go to a better club. Of course, Liverpool offers more opportunities for him to win silverware and maybe a higher pay. But I don't think was the issue when he decided he wants to leave. It's probably because he feels he would have more probability to win trophies at Liverpool. But then there are ways to do it without, they can decide to retain him because he's bound under contract and there's nothing they can do. I understand reintegrating him into the team after he has said he will leave may be quite an issue between him and the other players. But then Newcastle are not in a very good place right now. So I don't know how their game will go. I'll say for that, who are they playing again?
They're playing against Newcastle.
Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa should take that or a draw.
Yes, like you said, so Isak kind of forced away through. One of the issues that they had, is, I believe that maybe Newcastle want to sell to an English team. They want to cash out on him, and they didn't want to release him too. I believe these things can work side by side, in the context of what I was saying. They don't want to sell him for cheap. Probably want to sell him to a rival team, not rival team per se, but they want to sell him to an English team, and they want to do all of that and all of that. But let's see how it pans out. I think Aston Villa. I think it's going to be a full-time draw for the game. And the next game again, that's... Oh, okay.
Okay, anyways, back to it. What's the next game?
So the next game is Man U versus Arsenal. I think Man U are going to...
Sunday game.
Yes, Sunday game, yeah. I would like to go first. I'm Man U fan, so let's go.
Yeah, I'm expecting Man U to... That should be a morale boosting game for Man U. We should take care of Arsenal, It's not a big deal, Arsenal. Well, they both have firepower. Yeah, going by preseason, they were just both average. I expect this game to be a tough one, but just for the sake of being a Man U fan, nothing else. I think Man U will take it. Yeah. Mbuemo to have the first goal. Should be a 2-1 game.
So, very interesting stuff. For the past, I think the past seven fixtures, Man U have won 2, Arsenal have won 5. I think the only game the recent as 2023 till now, Man U have only beaten Arsenal once. So all these things come to play. Arsenal, of course, they didn't sell anybody. They've gotten once. The argument the people had against Arsenal was that they didn't have a striker. They've gotten a striker. Hopefully, we'll see a pounds out for them. Man U have signed the likes of Bermo, they signed Konya. They still need 1 or 2 signings as the case may be, and they had a lot of issues last year, so they will need confidence boosting towards the game. The season doesn't really start as on the bank like that. So I believe it's going to be a full-time draw. I don't see us losing that game. The next game will be
a lot of draws between them.
Yeah, of course. The next game is Spurs versus Burnley. Spurs are coming to the game, losing losing to PSG. They signed a lot of players there. Signed Danzo. They made a new captain. Son has left. They had a lot of exodus. I think like over 5 or 6 players have left Spurs. They signed a couple of players here and there out. Burnley on the other side, they've lost their keeper, their star keeper, Trafford, because going back to Man City. They
Lost Madison
it's
to
to injury too. I believe that Spurs should take that game. It's going to be a difficult one. The Spurs will get that game because Burnley are coming in from relegation. I say relegation from championship. I believe Spurs should take that game. And what do you think about the game?
yeah. We should go to sports.
Let's go to Spurs. The next game is also Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. Nottingham Forest have been on the team on the ascendancy. They had somewhat of a cold feet towards last season. They were top four at some point in time. They later moved to top six. They later moved to they later before they win. I think they're in it was from the man. Yeah, and then against Brentford to have lost Bemo. The past 5 games, Brentford have won 3.
They lost their captain.
Yes. So they've won at Aston Villa versus Newcastle at Villa Park. Done that, okay. Brighton. Oh yeah, Brighton Fulham. Brighton Fulham. What do you think?
Brighton Fulham. That's tough. Fulham. That should go for Fulham.
I think Fulham too should go. I think
Anyway.
yeah, but Brighton having issues. Baleba wants to go. I'm telling you, you go with the draw. Okay, I'll still go. I'll go with the Fulham win. Sunderland, West Ham. Sunderland come from Championship. West Ham, a bit of ups and downs here and there. What do you think about Sunderland, West Ham?
I think Sunderland, West Ham. West Ham should take it. Yeah, I'll just talk a bit about Moyes because like I was discussing with someone. I said I think he's a bit underrated. Yes, he's not an extraordinary, A-list coach, but he's a coach that knows how to get you over the line. You see how Everton brought him in and he stabled the ship. They avoided relegation very early. So he's a coach that will guarantee you a mid-table. He balances his team in a way that you can say, things work well. He's a mid-table coach, so to say, and he gets the job done. He's not like the likes of Guardiola or Alex Ferguson, but he knows how to keep you in the mid-table. I feel that is underrated. Anyway, so Everton should take it. He does knows how to get his team to get points when necessary. At times, even against big team, Moyes knows how to grind out results. So I do expect West Ham to take that.
Okay, so Spurs, Burnley, Spurs are going to be at home against Burnley. Burnley have had their issues. I think Spurs should win that game. I said Spurs win.
Spurs, yeah.
Trafford has gone. Let's Burnley. They signed Danzo. Spurs. Okay. Forest, Brentford.
Nottingham Forest, Brentford. I wouldn't say Nottingham Forest. I'm already tipping Brentford to be in the relegation battle. So Nottingham Forest should have it because Brentford have lost their coach, their former coach. Mbuemo, Wiza is about to go. They lost their captain, Noga, to Arsenal. So I do expect them to have a bit of a torrid season. So for this first game, Nottingham Forest should have it.
Okay, so away from that, since we're relegated, that will be relegated or that should be relegated. I think that Sunderland and Leeds would most likely be relegated, or Sunderland with Brentford will leave and then Burnley will stay up.
Yeah. Leeds, Sunderland, Brentford should be in the picture. I don't know for some reasons because they've lost valid players and the coach that has kept them up for over 3 seasons now has also left. Thomas Frank, very good coach too. So for that main reason, I'll give it to them to go down. Sunderland and also Leeds. I'm hoping Burnley should be able to escape. Those are my relegations.
So for you, who are expecting to be the signing of the season and the worst signing of the season? I think signing of the season that's going to be a tough one. Of course, like we're talking about impact and goal scored and probably who will win the league and who wouldn't win the league and all of that. I think probably maybe if Arsenal,
Now,
I think that maybe Gorekas will be there. Maybe Checky will be there. Maybe Tijani Riders will be there. And maybe I really don't see it when they sign the season. But let's say I pounds out, maybe I let's say I pounds out for them. I believe that one of those three players would be up there pending the results of the game. But this
All right,
is my own
I'll go
thoughts.
with because currently, before we start saying, oh, by impact, by the end of the season, of course, we'll say, oh, is this player, if, let's say, for instance, Man United does something extraordinary, or extraordinary rather, and are in the, what's it called, Premier League title race, of course, one of their players has to be in the mix. But as of now, I'll say Mbuemo or Konya, but I'll go Mbuemo because Man U struggled a lot with goals last season, and for that fact, they brought in somebody that can back them goals. So I'll say Buemo, Man U fan.
So we've done okay. Top goes highest goes for highest goes for of course between Salah and Haaland. Haaland says fit, Haaland should win. If Haaland says fit, Haaland should win. Salah
Top
should
goal
be up there.
scorer, Alan, yeah. Maybe Salah will be there, but Alan was a bit, pardon me. Alan, oh, mama. See, Alan was a bit
Yeah,
unlucky last season. He had injury worries and all that for
and
a
then the
while.
team also had their
Yeah,
issues.
yeah, yeah. And the team, but even with the team having their issue, he's among the top three. He bagged over 20 goals. So I'm tipping Alan for the highest goal scorer for this season.
Okay, so that will be and that's how she wrote. In case